FM 104.1FM and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sand Hills. This time once again for Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Chief Leader Adams along with the Colonel, retired Marine Colonel Drummond. Good morning, Colonel.
Hey, good morning, Moore County. Good morning, unfortunate Aberdeen, as the pilot failing pamphlet and coupon delivery system refers to you. Hey, if you don't have your coffee going, and if you haven't gotten over to get your apple fritters, do so, because we're going to have some special guests here in the second half. And, get out there and take your walk, take your portable radio with you while you're at it, and have a nice day.
Don't forget, of course, we're being heard and seen around the world on a live video stream. That's available to you now at talk973.com or talk1041.com. Top middle of the page is where the link's located. On your mobile device, fire up a streaming app. On your mobile device for the video, you get TuneIn fired up and put the Mornings with the LeaderMan in there. Mornings with the LeaderMan. And if you're just looking at audio stream, that's when you fire up a streaming app such as TuneIn, iTunes, or Streamer. And let me get my background music back. Come here. All right, and you get your where was I?
I don't know. You were looking for your music.
Yeah, all right. When you try the streaming app, put WEEB in the search, and if you just want it off of our website, it's there too. Upper right-hand corner of every page, there's an icon that says "Only Air Listen Live." Click it once, and you're listening back quick. Well, for us today here in the Sand Hills area, it's going to be sunny today, pretty much what it was yesterday, a few degrees warmer. 72 is what we're looking for. Tonight, clear, good sleeping weather, 49 for low. Wednesday, sunshine, jumping the temperature though, and the humidity a little bit. 78 for high. Wednesday night, 56 on the part of the cloudy skies. Thursday, we're okay there too. Part of the cloudy high of 76. Then rain, a chance of rain moves in Thursday night, small chance, mostly cloudy. Few scattered showers, 59 low. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We got roughly a 30% chance of rain throughout that period as we deal with the remnants of Hurricane Beta, which will be tracking our way, but we'll have broken up big time before it gets there. So that's why they only put a 30% chance of rain throughout the whole time. Our highs, what did I say? Friday, 74, 79, Saturday, 80, Sunday, and Monday. Right now around the Sand Hills, winds are calm, visibility 10 to 15 miles. Pressure 30-31, 2.41, humidity 96%. It's clear and 42 degrees currently here at Talk 97.3FM, 104.1FM, and 990 AM WEEB. All right, it is 7:35 past the hour on this cool Tuesday morning. It does feel nice to go outside, and you don't feel like you need a shower by the time you get to the car, as it has been all summer. Went through a lot of torture, but it took a whole bunch of hurricanes out there in the Atlantic, 3 or 4 of them, which are still out there spinning, to get those winds changed a little bit so we can get some cool air in here. So there is an upside to a hurricane when it's not on land. So, with the Democrats still jumping up and down about this nomination, everybody's playing the two-face game. Bottom line, if you got the Senate and you got the presidency, as far as the party goes, you can get them confirmed, as long as you don't get some turncoats in there and their hate Trump feelings that will get away, such as Murkowski and Collins. They should have never opened their mouth and just waited. But now they get a good shoot off their mouths. I won't vote for the nominee before after the election.
Well, there's a couple articles here this morning indicating that they have the number of votes they need, so they're going to go forward with it. So.
Yeah. They're pretty sure they got 50, and maybe 51. So that will get whoever's nominated confirmed unless something really glaring pops up. And in these shoes, they'd be doing the exact same thing. No doubt about it. They're sitting there throwing their little tantrum, threatening impeachment, doing away with the filibuster, and things like that if they get power on November 3rd. At least get elected to power.
Well, they're going to do everything they can. I mean, long-term goals is make Puerto Rico a state, make D.C. a state, all this kind of thing, and pack the court and all the rest. So, it's going to be very important that the Republicans actually play some hardball here instead of the hacky sack or whatever they've been doing here for the last 50 years. So, they're finally starting to get some people in there in some states. I'm not so sure about this state, but they're finally starting to get some people in there playing some hardball, and the rest of the team has to play along with them. So, maybe it'll continue. We may lose a few more seats here, trying to get rid of some of the people like Collins and Murkowski. Collins apparently is behind in her race, so the Senate may actually come out even here in the next election. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's get to some of our sound bites this morning. See how we do on that. First, we'll try to put a chuckle on the Colonel's face with the best of late night Unity Boys from last night.
The most important thing Americans can do is vote, and it looks like we're getting some help from somewhere you wouldn't expect. Watch this.
Foot Locker is turning thousands of their stores into voter registration sites.
It's perfect because when a fight breaks out, there'll be 40 people dressed like referees to handle it. Retailer Foot Locker has announced that some of its stores will become voter registration sites, and as usual, you'll leave with something that's not entirely comfortable, but eventually you'll get used to it.
Humor is based on truth. Yeah, that's right.
Let's see. Where is it? There it is. A 3-year-old in Toronto named Wolfgang Wolfie Reader is obsessed with garbage trucks. Kids like trucks and tractors and things like that. He only invited 2 people to his birthday this month because of social distancing, and he chose the 2 trash collectors who handle his fruit. So they went above and beyond for him. They brought 4 trucks to the house and blared the horns. That had to be exciting. And then they hung out in the front yard and gave him his own uniform. Here's one of the garbage men.
You took a liking to me, took a liking to us. Wolfie's a really great kid.
Without hesitation, he said you're in DJ.
Since you're part of the pack, we got you something.
Luca played movie with my garbage trucks.
Help the family, give the kids something to do during this lockdown, and bring out the good spirits in times like this. Seeing them enthusiastic about even just something as simple as, as what we do in our everyday lives brings meaning, shows the importance of everything that everyone does in society.
Okay. BuzzFeed released a list of behind-the-scenes facts about popular songs. One amusing fact is Dolly Parton used her acrylic nails as a sound effect while doing 9 to 5. She said, they make noise and it's kind of like the sound of a typewriter to me, and I played it on the actual record. It says Nails by Dolly on the album. Here's a little clip, and you'll hear the typewriter sound, which are her nails tapping down.
Yes, I do.
Now you're amazed.
Yes, that was her fingernails.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Yes, today is the first day of fall. So let's look at some weather predictions together here.
Let's talk about your weather. Fall officially arrives, and it's going to feel fall-like.
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
Okay. Thanks, Captain Obvious. And then the wind. The noise causes cancer.
Really?
knows what their customers want, at least they think they do.
Yeah.
It's the new seasonal coffee that you're going to love. It's the real taste of autumn without all the stupid coffee.
Fall has arrived at Starbucks. Join us for the new Taste of Autumn specialty coffee.
That sounds good.
Black coffee, pieces of real leaves floating around for texture and aroma.
That doesn't sound too good.
But they're real leaves from New England.
Still, no.
How about we add pumpkin spice donut holes, pumpkin whipped cream, and drizzle it with light and dark caramel?
Oh yeah, that sounds real good.
Let's just skip the coffee and put hot cocoa in first.
Oh yeah, but what about the leaves?
We can just put a picture of them on the cup.
Sold. I'm on my way to the drive-thru.
Starbucks, where fall has arrived.
That's what their coffee tastes like anyway.
And just the connoisseur of coffee, too.
I'm not a connoisseur. I know what's bad. That's bad.
Have you ever had to start your day without coffee?
Well, of course. Yeah. Plenty of time.
I bet you were fun to be around.
You know, just continue to march.
A pregnant mom shared a video of her toddler daughter pretending to have morning sickness, just like mom has.
Do you feel better? Oh, better?
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So all pregnant moms can relate. The guy put his sister's phone in a, quote, smartphone jail, and then set the timer for 40 minutes. But then she started messing around and accidentally increased it to 2 days. She actually cried. The jail they used is in the, well, it's a physical thing that locks up the phone. So, here's her reaction to it.
What? Yeah. It's 2 days. It's not funny.
Wow. I think I'll wait in the... Wait, I put it in there for 40 minutes.
Yeah,
Everybody else trying to find it.
yeah, that was no mistake. Hey, you little creep.
No, they did put it in there for 40 minutes, and she tried to get it out and increased it by 2 days. It took the smile off her face, didn't it? An opera in Spain had to cancel a show after they packed the place, and the crowd wasn't happy with the lack of social distancing. Instead of yelling, they protested by clapping, so the show could not go on. The thing is, those that didn't like it could get up and leave, and they have plenty of space. I guess they're upset that they paid the money, probably a lot, and this happens.
Well, I don't have any. What are you supposed to say to them? You paid and stuff happens, and okay. You get your money back. I know what you pay for these concerts and things. If the artist actually walks out on stage and stands there for 5 minutes, they consider to fulfill their contract, and boom, they're gone. I've seen that happen.
Well, this year marks the 40th anniversary of Friday the 13th, and because of the pandemic, movie theaters need special events to stay afloat. Throw in the fact that it's Halloween season, and I guess the time was right for this. Friday the 13th is hitting theaters around the country October 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. And of course, it's a little Friday the 13th music for you. Let's see here. Speaking of Halloween, it may look different in a lot of ways this year, but there are plenty of people who are still going to slap on a costume and pretend everything is fine. According to the National Retail Federation, about half the people are Superman, superhero, ghost, Batman, witch, vampire, frozen characters, pumpkin, and cat. 10 most popular costumes for adults, pick one job. Witch, vampire, cat, Batman, ghost, pirate, zombie, nurse, princess, and a tie for 10th between Doctor and Spider-Man.
Okay. Doctor and Spider-Man. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
And for pets, they got pumpkin, hot dog, superhero, cat, bumblebee, ghost, dog, witch, devil, and bat.
Costume. So what are you dressing up as?
A DJ.
Oh, okay.
Carry around my Mr. Microphone.
Carry around your mic.
And have fun.
Okay.
Let's see here. Sing, Steve, what are you doing? It's a good on my mind, and it just went away. Oh, no. Got it. Things we need to know today so we don't sound stupid. With 6.1 million viewers and a 1.2 rating among adults 18-49, and adjusted results, the Emmy Awards beat last year's previous low. You notice how they go to just one segment of the demographics, 1849.
Right.
The money graphic is 2554. That's the time slide. That's the graphic you really want to get.
Did they get in that? They didn't say at all?
But
They didn't say what their numbers were in that particular demographic?
no, just 1849.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people with rating books do. They go pluck one little thing that makes them look good, and that's what they use. It happens to every award show that has a memoriam section. This year, the Emmys left out the names of Kelly Preston, Kobe Bryant, and Nick Cordero. Which Carmen is most likely to get a speeding ticket? Owners of the Subaru WRX have picked up the most over the past year.
In a Subaru.
Mm-hmm.
So all those liberal communists riding around in your Subarus are actually the ones getting the tickets. Huh?
Yeah, law doesn't apply to them. It applies to you.
What is a Subaru WR? What is that?
WRX, that's just the model.
Some SUV looking thing? Yeah.
I don't know.
They all look pretty crappy, if you ask me.
Statue of Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to go up at her home stomping grounds of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
She'll be the first woman ever to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol on Friday.
At the Capitol, I thought she was going to be, thought it was just going to be in the Supreme Court.
I did too, so this may be wrong here. Someone leaked out that Apple's next iPhone will be its smallest one yet, the iPhone Mini. Oh, and that's special. They got a mini phone.
Yeah, you can't read them now, so, now you're going to have an iPhone that you really can't read.
Yeah. Well, when I was 20, I could read them.
Yeah, right.
So far, Facebook has registered 2.5 million people to vote. That's good. Go vote. One Florida beach is covered with starfish that were blown up there by Hurricane Sally. I guess it's sucks to be a starfish on that beach.
Well, same things have been happening for millions of years, and it's a tragedy today.
Oh, no, this is Trump's fault.
Yeah.
Have you heard? It's Trump's fault.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Speaking of Trump, he says he's going to wait until after Ruth Bader Ginsburg's funeral before announcing his pick for the Supreme Court. Her funeral is supposed to take place late in the week.
That would be the polite thing to do. But if it's Democrats, if it's communist Democrats, they'll end up parading her around for the next 60 days. Then to try to prevent him from releasing his name. It'll be weekend at Bernie's or whatever it was, where they're dragging.
Well, he'll just say, I've waited a respectful amount of time, and now we got to get on with it. An 89-year-old New Jersey woman with Alzheimer's disease nearly lost her home of 50 years because she owed a grand total in back taxes of 6 cents.
Yeah, I saw this one. Yep. That's a Politburo functionary for you right there. You know, somebody in the tax department looking at that and said, "Oh, she owes 6 cents." You know, instead of reaching in your pocket and flushing it in the till.
It costs more to mail the notice.
Yeah, you know, you go through this entire process, and you have to understand perfectly that this will create a firestorm nationwide. You know, I don't know if it's nationwide, but whatever idiot decided to go and start that process would have to fully understand that was going to be just a nationwide firestorm, and yet they go ahead and do it for 6 cents.
Well, that's why they spell government food bar.
Yeah. Well, you know, they should drag anybody who had their fingers on that knew better. They should drag them out in the parking lot and just slap them. You know, do the Three Stooges thing on them, and then tell them to get back to work. I mean, what a bunch of fools.
Lady Gaga, you know, she has such a tough life being rich and famous and all that.
Lady Gaga.
Yeah, but she confided on the CBS Sunday Morning Show that she has struggled with her mental health.
Yeah.
Says, I hated being famous. I hated being a star, in her words. And she says there was a time she thought about suicide daily.
Good Lord. Yeah, and she hated the name Gaga.
Yeah. Let me show you some people who really suffer. Maybe and you get that feeling that they're by the grace of God go on. And you'll shut up your whining. Today's impossible question, $109 is the average price of this. What is it?
What's that, $109?
Yeah.
Is the average price of something?
Yeah, that you would get. Or I'll give you a big clue. Or someone else.
Oh, for someone else? Well, technically, this would be for someone else a couple of boxes of ammunition.
That's hard to get now.
$100. Flowers, I guess. I don't know.
A wedding gift.
A wedding gift. Okay. Didn't cost me anything. We just had a big closet full of it. We've had for 40 years. I put it out there and wrap it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even have to wrap up again.
Yeah.
Just change the tag.
You were so glad they showed up, huh? Did you know? Well, let's see.
My wife is probably going nuts, right?
Something we don't get to do very often because we stay swamped with political crap. Get up here, buddy. Money. Okay.
And now it's time for
Random facts.
All right, some random facts for today, and maybe a spare, if we're good. In 1942, Manitoba, Canada, tried to promote the sale of war bonds by staging a fake Nazi invasion of Winnipeg. I'm sorry. Cleopatra lived closer to the debut of the iPhone than the building of the Great Pyramid. The pyramid was finished in 2540 BC. Cleopatra was born in 2471. 2,471 years later, in 69 BC. And the iPhone debuted in 2007, and that's just 2,076 years after her birth.
Wow. That is an interesting thought.
Yeah.
The possibility here of history and technology, etc., in the last 100 years is just amazing.
Just like there are earthquakes here on Earth, there are moonquakes on the moon. Sunquakes on the sun, and Marsquakes on Mars.
Marsquake.
Yes, it is a living planet.
Sounds like a candy bar or something. Marsquake.
And the first Super Bowl was carried on both CBS and NBC because of the TV contracts. No other Super Bowl has ever been on more than one network. And that's your random facts for today.
Only one network Sunday ratings and the Monday night ratings are both down double digits, big double digits.
I wouldn't know. I didn't watch.
Well, I just read the thing. I didn't watch them either, but apparently Sunday night was down 17%. Monday was down, I think, about the same.
Well, they can have it. The fans can have it.
Yep, no more. Done. Stick a fork in it.
If you're test driving a car, you want to see if it can handle your most important day-to-day activities. But that's a real problem when your day-to-day activities are committing felonies. There's a 43-year-old guy named Caleb Gibson in Centerville, Utah. And over the weekend, he went to a car dealership to take a test drive. But the car salesman told him that it was time to wrap it up and head back to the dealership. But Caleb wouldn't do it. He got on the freeway, started doing 100 miles an hour, and cranked the radio so a 911 dispatcher couldn't hear the salesman who was saying he was calling for help.
There you go.
Eventually, the Utah Highway Patrol spotted the car and got Caleb pulled over. He tried to pin the whole thing on the car salesman, but it turns out Caleb has a long criminal history, and his excuse didn't work, so he was arrested for kidnapping.
There you go. Success. Yeah. Turn the music up so you can't call 911. That's thinking, you know.
All right. Don't forget next hour, John Zumwalt and David Hensley will be here talking about the sex questions they're asking your children in Moore County schools. And we'll be back on the backside of the news at 8 o'clock.
You'll need the sunglasses and the sweaters for today. We are going to see mostly sunny skies and fall-like highs persist. Expect readings this afternoon in the lower 70s. As we progress into tonight under mostly clear skies, we'll see those temperatures fall into the upper 40s and lower 50s. We are going to see clouds build in. Tomorrow, partly cloudy conditions will persist with warmer highs in the mid to upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in Weather Center.
Broadcasting from the top of the North Carolina Sand Dunes, 97.3FM-104.1FM, and 990 WEEB, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. President Trump says he expects to announce his pick for the Supreme Court on Friday or Saturday. Meanwhile, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's casket will be on public view tomorrow and Thursday outside the court and Friday inside the Capitol. Tropical storm Beta made landfall on the upper Texas coast last night. Josh Oster of Longview, Texas, says his family is taking in the experience of a tropical storm before heading home.
We're actually about 4.5 hours north of here, Longview. We're down here on vacation, so might as well make the best of it while we're here.
Early today, the U.S. National Hurricane Center said Beta was packing maximum winds of 40 miles an hour. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is announcing new restrictions on social interaction as the government tries to slow the spread of COVID-19 before it spirals out of control.
Previewing the restrictions, Cabinet Office Minister Michael Gove says pubs and restaurants across England will be ordered to close at 10 p.m. daily, and people who can work from home will be encouraged to do so, reversing the back to the office plan. Gove says reducing social mixing is key to slowing the spread of the virus, adding it was impossible to say how long the restrictions would be in place. Britain has gradually been increasing restrictions as cases rise, with people already barred from meeting in large groups. Charles Philadelphia, London.
President Trump will be giving a pre-recorded address at the UN General Assembly today. Mr. Trump says he'll have a strong message for China, where the first cases of COVID-19 were reported, but he didn't elaborate. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says many mid-sized U.S. businesses are now able to borrow from banks, suggesting the need for a Fed lending program designed to serve struggling mid-sized businesses has waned. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Excuse me, have you ever discussed life insurance?
Well, sort of.
Have you talked about who will pay the mortgage if one of you passes?
We definitely haven't talked about that.
Well, then you should talk to SelectQuote. SelectQuote shops for you, getting you quotes from some of the country's most trusted companies, finding you the right coverage, the right carrier, at the right price in minutes.
Is
Is it affordable?
Well, how affordable does $500,000 in coverage for as little as $1 a day sound? That's great. We can afford that. To get your free quote, call 1-800-212-1166 or go to selectquote.com today and get the protection they need at a price you can afford. That's 1-800-212-1166 or selectquote.com. SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Get full details on example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Monthly premiums vary based on health company and other factors. Not available in all states.
President Trump says his administration has potential vaccines for COVID-19 moving on the fast track.
We have 3 vaccines right now that are right there. They're right at the starting gate, and they're going to be fantastic. So it's great. And with Biden, if you had that regime, you'd be 3 years away because it would have never gotten out of the FDA. What we've done in a very safe manner is amazing.
Mr. Trump spoke at a campaign rally last night in Swanton, Ohio. A federal judge has ruled that absentee ballots in battleground Wisconsin can be counted up to 6 days after the November 3rd election, as long as they're postmarked by Election Day. Unless it's overturned, Monday's ruling means that the outcome of the presidential race in Wisconsin might not be known for days after polls close. Under current law, the deadline for returning an absentee ballot to have it counted is 8 p.m. on Election Day. News and analysis to townhall.com. A woman faces charges of mailing several letters containing ricin, including one to the White House.
A woman arrested at the Peace Bridge crossing from Canada to Buffalo, New York, has her first appearance in federal court Tuesday in connection with an intercepted envelope containing ricin, which was addressed to the White House. Canadian and U.S. investigators also searched a home in Quebec. Royal Canadian Mounted Police Corporal Charles Poirier tells CTV on Monday.
There's a link between the suspect, the female suspect that was arrested in Buffalo, New York yesterday, and this residence.
The woman, who hasn't been identified, is also suspected of having mailed ricin letters to law enforcement agencies in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. I'm Tim McGuire.
Illicit drugs are increasingly available in the European Union, where there is now an abundant supply. That's one of the conclusions of the bloc's drug monitoring agency. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The greatest comeback of all time is underway. Remember to shop local businesses. A reminder from Talk 97.3FM-104.1FM and 990 AM. WEEB.
Regino's has always served our community, and we're still open, serving local families through curbside takeaway and DoorDash delivery. Right now, you can get our legendary 9-inch grinders and a bag of chips for just $8.49, or an 18-inch grinder for $16.99. All of our grinders are made on fresh, homemade white bread, oven-baked daily with mozzarella and provolone cheese. Regino's Pizza and Grinders on Pinehurst Avenue, voted #1 by Spectator Magazine. See our full menu at ReginoSouthernPines.com, then call 246-2446.
At Pool Automotive, being local and family-owned isn't just a title. It's the lifeblood of our business. The moment you walk into our Aberdeen showroom, you'll be treated like family. You see, we believe that all our guests deserve quality, reliable used vehicles, and we have the inventory and finance options to make it happen. When you buy a new vehicle, the second you drive it off the lot, it's already depreciated by thousands. Before you throw that money away, come to Pool Automotive and check out our huge selection of premium vehicles. We have high-quality, off-lease vehicles, most of which are one-owner cars with low mileage and remaining factory warranties. Something else we do to save you even more? We don't charge documentation fees. Yep, you heard us right. No doc fees here. Come in today. 500 South Sand Hills Boulevard in Aberdeen, or call 910-637-0057 and experience the Pool advantage.
Hi, I'm John Cole with John Cole Plumbing Professionals. We would like to express our sincere appreciation to all our loyal customers for voting us Best Plumbing Company in this year's 2019 Best of the Pines. We will continue to offer excellent customer service, professional workmanship, and affordable pricing. Don't just call a plumber, call a professional. John Cole Plumbing Professionals. 910-639-4933.
At 10 Hills Collision Center in Seven Lakes, we proudly serve all your automotive repair, auto body restoration, and collision repair needs. With our brand new state-of-the-art cheap straightening system and eco-friendly Americare paint booth, you can rest assured that your vehicle, boat, or RV will receive top-notch repair and flawless paint jobs. And for all you aviators, we do aircraft body repair too. Sandhills Collision Repair Center is veteran-owned and offers a 5% discount to our military family. We give free estimate and accept all insurance and self-pay. All our ATECs will provide superior customer service from start to finish because we are committed to quality and prompt expert service. Bring your automobile, boat, or RV by today for a free quote at 135 Village View Drive in 7 Lakes. That's just 2 minutes from the food line on 7 Lakes Drive. Or call us at 910-673-AUTO. That's 673-AUTO. Sandhills Collision Center, because you deserve the best.
Granny's Donuts of Aberdeen introduces the old-fashioned buttermilk donut. Using their third-generation recipe, they're handmade to perfection. Crispy and glazed on the outside and a delicate cake on the inside. Now, every Tuesday, when you buy an old-fashioned donut and a cup of coffee for only $2.73, Granny's will throw in 3 donut hulls. That's right. Get a buttermilk donut, a cup of Granny's premium coffee, and 3 donut hulls for just $2.73. That's at Granny's Donuts off Highway 1 in Aberdeen, behind the Walgreens. Forget what you know about carpet. Aberdeen Carpet and Flooring has Valera high-performance carpet by Shaw floors. Designed for beauty and high performance, this carpet is like no other. From top to bottom, Valera is built for protection, making cleanup a breeze and will stay beautiful in your home for many years to come. Come see us at Aberdeen Carpet and Flooring today. We're located at 2314 Highway 5 near Habitat for Humanity. Open 9 to 4 Monday through Saturday. Go online to aberdeencarpet.com or visit us on Facebook for more information. Then call 910-944-6204 to schedule your free estimate.
NCN News. I'm Tony Rexay, disturbing new details about a Hope County man facing hundreds of sex crime charges against children. Authorities now say the charges against 30-year-old Joshua Bradshaw all happened this year, with over 130 victims, all under the age of 12. Hope County Sheriff Hubert Peterson tells WREL-TV there could be more victims out there.
Right now, it seemed like he was independent. And this is not uncommon for people who prey on children. You know, they can do this alone, and they can do it a lot. And he did. From what we see in the investigation, he was very busy.
Bradshaw made his first court appearance Monday in Rayford. He's being held in the Hope County Jail under $20 million bond. A Capital University law professor remembers Ruth Bader Ginsburg as an icon on the Supreme Court. Greg Wallace says that Ginsburg played an important role in the fight for women's rights. Wallace says in the legal arena, no one played a more important role than Ginsburg.
She litigated a number of very important cases prior to being placed on the court, and then she extended those successes while she was on the court.
Weijia Jiang reports from the White House on the high-stakes showdown over that vacancy on the High Court.
The White House was eager to make the election something other than a referendum on President Trump's response to the coronavirus, and this huge decision could be the answer, because the nominee will be a woman. It could also shore up support from the suburban women the president has been courting.
North Carolina Association of Educators President Tamika Walker-Kelly is urging school districts to be cautious about moving to Phase A reopening.
We have seen educators and students pull contracts COVID-19 even under the Plan B requirements. And so we have really grave concerns.
You're listening to NCN News.
Joe Biden. To fix the economy, we have to get control over the virus. I'm releasing a plan to save lives in the months ahead. We need increased federal support for testing, doubling the number of drive-through testing sites. We also need a clear message from the very top of our federal government that everyone needs to wear a mask in public. Every single frontline worker should have the personal protective equipment that they need to be safe. We need to support schools and child care programs so parents, if and when they can return to work, are confident that their children will be safe and cared for. And finally, we need to protect the populations most at risk, our seniors, vulnerable populations with pre-existing conditions. We need real plans, real guidelines with uniform, nationwide standards. Simple proposition, folks. We're all in this together. We got to fight this together. We'll emerge from this stronger because we did it together. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message. Paid for by Biden for president.
Tropical storm Beta made landfall on the Texas coast last night, bringing heavy rain and the risk of flooding. CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson.
It's not actually going to make its way into Louisiana until late on Wednesday, but because of the pattern of the bands of the storm, almost everything is centered well in front of it, and as a result, the heavy rain should end in Texas after tonight, and it becomes a Louisiana and then a Mississippi problem.
The Vatican today doubling down on its opposition to euthanasia, as we hear from CBS News correspondent Elaine Cobb.
In a new document issued today, the Vatican calls euthanasia an act of homicide and intrinsically evil. It says it can never be justified or tolerated. As more countries consider legalizing euthanasia or assisted suicide, the Catholic Church warns that legislators who support such moves are accomplices of a grave sin. About 10 countries and several U.S. states allow some level of euthanasia or assisted suicide. Elaine Cobb, CBS News.
Some risk from a widely prescribed drug.
A study at the University of Pennsylvania has discovered a link between the drugs glucocorticoids and increased risk of infection, even at low doses. These drugs are widely prescribed for rheumatoid arthritis. Researchers say their findings suggest doctors need to carefully weigh the benefits and risks when prescribing these drugs.
That was correspondent Elise Preston. Mayberry Day is still on this year despite the pandemic. Tanya Jones with the Surrey Arts Council telling WGHP-TV.
It's still going to be special, and what we're doing is stringing out special, but it's going to be different, as is everything else this year.
The festival will not have a parade this year, but Grand Marshal Betty Lynn will be driving around town seeing people. Tony Rixby, NCN News.
Our temperatures for today will be slightly warmer. We're still going to keep mostly sunny skies around for the first day of fall. Expect highs in the lower 70s. As we progress into tonight, our temperatures are going to cool off. Expect readings again to be on the chilly side in the upper 40s and lower 50s. A few high clouds will build in and partly cloudy conditions will persist tomorrow. Temperatures will be warmer in the mid to upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Right now here in the St. Hills area, sunny and 46 degrees, humidity 96%, dew point 45, pressure 30-32, winds calm, visibility at 10 to 2 miles. It's 8:15. Let's take a look at your St. Hills news for this Tuesday morning. North Carolina's unemployment rate dropped markedly in August, falling to nearly half the record rate during the spring. At the height of the restrictions issued during the COVID-19 pandemic, the State Department of Commerce says last month's rate was 6.5% compared to 8.5% in July. The state rate for April was 12.9%. The jobless figure for August masked partly the reduction in the overall number of people in the workforce by almost 72,000 compared to July. That could signal some residents have stopped looking for work. Almost 388,000 fewer people were working in August compared to August of 2019. That's your WEEB local news this morning from the Sand Hills Sentinel. And of course, you can go online to sandhillsentinel.com for more information. At 8:16, sports is next, right here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. We start with the closure of Week 2 of the NFL Week 2 season with Derek Carr throwing 3 touchdown passes and the Raiders opening their first home schedule in Las Vegas by rallying from an early 10-point deficit to beat the New Orleans Saints 34-24 in a stadium nicknamed the Death Star. Carr was in complete control for most of the night. He was 28 of 38 for 282 yards. Darren Walker caught 12 of his passes for 133 as Carr's most trusted option.
It's nice to play against the Saints, the world champions, top whatever defense, top whatever offense. The special teams against one of the best in the league, and get a win. I mean, that feels good. It was a good statement Monday night, all that. But just like I told the guys after the game when we brought it up, I said, job not done.
For the Saints, Drew Brees was 26 of 38 for 312 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 INT.
Are we fully in sync right now? No, we're not.
we're not even close to what we are capable of. Not even close. We did some good things tonight early on, but it just wasn't enough for the few opportunities we had. We needed to take better advantage of them.
Panthers all-pro running back Christian McCaffrey is expected to miss multiple weeks with an ankle sprain he sustained in Carolina's loss to the Buccaneers on Sunday. They haven't said exactly how much time he could miss, but anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks is what we should expect. On the ice, the Tampa Bay Lightning had passed the Stanley Cup final at a game apiece by defeating the Dallas Stars 3-2 last night in Edmonton. The Lightning were 1 for 18 skids on the power play before Braden Point and Andre Palat scored with the man advantage about 3 minutes apart in the Bolts' 3-goal first period. Kevin Shattenkirk provided the eventual game winner later in the opening stanza. Game 3 is tomorrow. No games last night in the NBA bubble. Tonight it will be Game 3 in the Western Conference Final between the Lakers and the Nuggets. Lakers lead the series 2-0. This is NCN Sports.
North Carolina's Secretary of State Elaine Marshall is a leader who takes action, cutting red tape to help business, industry, and real estate during the COVID-19 crisis. As our Secretary of State, Elaine Marshall has been bold and decisive, allowing notaries to use electronic validation during this healthcare state of emergency. She's a leader who knows how to make things happen. Let's keep Elaine Marshall as our Secretary of State. Paid for by NC Property Rights Fund.
Watch UNC TV Thursday night at 7 p.m. for North Carolina Broadcast Legends, when our guest will be the former chairman and COO of the Suburban Radio Group, Bill Rollins. Bill was an industry leader whose vision at both the state and national levels have impacted nearly every broadcast facility in our state. Bill Rollins on the next edition of North Carolina Broadcast Legends, Thursday night at 7 p.m. on UNC TV.
Denny Hamlin is starting his own racing team in partnership with Charlotte Hornets owner Michael Jordan and Bubba Wallace as the driver. Hamlin, a 3-time Daytona 500 winner and top contender for this year's Cup title, made the announcement on social media. The team will be a single-car Toyota entry aligned with Joe Gibbs Racing. Hamlin said additional details would come later. Wallace, meanwhile, is the only black driver in NASCAR's top level. There's been speculation for months that Hamlin was organizing some sort of ownership group. This is it. Novak Djokovic beat Diego Schwartzman in straight sets to win his 5th Italian Open title, and in doing so, he also passed childhood idol Pete Sampras for his second most weeks at number 1 with 287. On the women's side, top seeded Simona Halep won her first Rome title after Karolina Pliskova retired midway through the final with a left thigh injury. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Thanks for helping bring the economy back. One local purchase at a time.
Kind of uplifts you and feel better.
It's the greatest comeback of all time. With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
We now know Cal Cunningham billed taxpayers for days he didn't even show up to work, billing us for 28 days of expenses, but only working 6 days. Cunningham said ripping off North Carolina taxpayers was a, quote, very practical decision. Cunningham also took a nearly $40,000 tax break to add a butler's pantry and wet bar in his luxury home. And while Cunningham blasted the coronavirus relief program in a cheap political stunt, the company that paid him took up to $2 million from the very same program. Cunningham also got appointed to a coveted state commission after he gave thousands of dollars to the governor. Cunningham gave thousands and got the job. Pay to play, coincidence, or corruption? Cal Cunningham and corruption, they just seem to go together again and again. City leadership paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertisement, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.cityleadershipfund.org.
Serving more people, more places, 24/7. If your AC breaks down, we'll restore your indoor heaven. Installation or repair, one call will be there. It's your family, don't delay. Comfort's just a call away. Here, Comfort Services. Comfort Services. Come to Comfort Services in Aberdeen to get a free estimate on a new Carrier system or heat pump, and you may qualify for a rebate up to $1,900 from Carrier. Get in on the savings and purchase a qualifying heating or cooling product before the cool cash rebate ends November 15th. You may also qualify for financing options as well. Stop into Comfort Services on Highway 5 next to the Habitat store in Aberdeen. Call 910-695-2665. Comfort Services also sells gas logs. Call 910-695-2665. It's just a call away. Comfort Services.
100 years, Pines Funerals has been there for Moore County families when they needed us most. We continue to build on tradition of trust by serving all your funeral and memorial needs from any of our convenient locations. Nestled in 15 acres of wooded landscape along Morganton Road, Pine Lawn Memorial Park offers memorial gardens, plus a land, a chapel, and a beautiful brand new funeral and cremation center slated for completion in 2020. For free pre-planning information or to schedule a tour, call Pines Funerals at 910-947-2224 or visit pinesfunerals.com today.
The Hennings Taste of India is introducing a new menu, including classic American appetizers, seafood, and more. A featured edition is the Nepalese favorite, momos, a delicious meat dumpling and Himalayan delicacy. Order crab or lobster tail tikka masala and cheese naan bread for just $34.99. Need delicious food for your next catering event? Just call 910-725-2050. That's 910-725-2050. Hennings Taste of India, 1720 U.S. Highway 1 in the Old Squires Pub building.
Men over 45, do you have frequent urination and urgent need to go, weak flow, a feeling the bladder is not completely empty? Do you suffer with an enlarged prostate or BPH? Want to avoid the side effects of BPH medication and invasive surgeries? How? The UroLift system, a minimally invasive approach to treating enlarged prostate with no cutting, heating, or removal of prostate tissue. Imagine an outpatient procedure with minimal downtime, rapid symptom relief, all while preserving sexual function. Find out if the UroLift system is right for you. Call and set an appointment today with one of our urologists at Pinehurst Surgical. Call 910-947-5823. 910-947-5823. Call and find out if the UroLift system is right for you. Common side effects typically resolve within 2 to 4 weeks and may include some pain or discomfort in the pelvis or when urinating and an increased urge to go. Call 910-947-5823.
Being overweight is the number one health problem in America today. It leads to so many avoidable health issues. If you have a weight problem and finally want to do something about it, then do what I did and participate in the Transforming You Weight Loss Program offered by Dr. Sharon Wright at Wright Chiropractic in 7 Lakes. It's a customized, physician-assisted program based on your body type and your goals. A healthier, more vibrant, spirited, and slimmer you emerges. Now, I lost 25 pounds in the first month and 50 pounds today. That keeps me motivated. Now, the program is easy to follow. I'm Steve Leader Adams, and if I can do it, you can do it. Give Dr. Wright a call and set up your no-charge consultation about the Transforming You Weight Loss Program at 910-673-2225. That's Wright Chiropractic at 673-2225.
Home Choice Network is a licensed, locally owned and operated home care agency that's been providing independence for seniors and peace of mind for families since 2003.
They just are wonderful.
Caring, dependable, good attitude.
A lifesaver for me.
Somebody's here every day with him that cares about him. It shows.
They're all good. They're all wonderful. They're not just good. They're wonderful.
Call today for a free consultation, 910-944-1116.
War Dogs Army Surplus. Moore County's largest selection of Army surplus has expanded and open for business. Since acquiring the adjoining building, War Dogs will now be able to provide Moore County with even more quality, high-end Army surplus. Bring in your Army gear and War Dogs will match any legitimate offer from another competitor and beat it by 10%. That's right, War Dogs will match their offer and add 10% to your wallet. Open Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and 11 to 4 on Saturday. Located at 675 West Broad Street in Southern Pines, right across the street from Beefeaters, or call them at 910-920-7749. That's 920-7749. War Dogs. We offer more and sell for less.
We're proud to be working with our local businesses for the greatest comeback of all time.
Come together.
With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
The Zumwalt Zone is brought to you by Quality Built Homes, the Sand Hills #1 home builder, developer, and remodeler. With over 1,500 homes built in Moore County, we earn our name every day. Quality Built Homes, 910-944-6900. 7453.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. All of us know how much our language has changed over the last few years. I get it, sometimes. Some of these things I just don't get. In the old days, if cops wanted to talk to someone about a crime, they called them a suspect. Apparently, they can't do that anymore. I was listening to a true crime podcast today, and a detective was referring to a man that they had on video committing a murder. They had him on video. When a reporter asked the detective if the man was a suspect, the detective replied, well, at this point, he's simply a person of interest. What does the guy have to do to get promoted from a person of interest to a suspect? I feel the same way about the word gap. Biden tells lie after lie after lie, and they laugh at it, refer to it all just Sleepy Joe and a gap. When does it become a lie? What does Joe have to do around here to get promoted to liar? I can't deny that Joe has given me some hope. This is off the subject, but when I watch old footage of him, when he was younger, he used to be bald. I didn't realize your hair grew back. A Democrat gets caught claiming some heroic thing or another, and it turns out to be a lie, and you think to yourself, well, that's the end for them. No, it's not. They can say or do anything. The media gives them complete immunity. I hope you'll keep listening, and that you will always consider me to be a person of interest in the Zumwalt Zone.
You'll need the sunglasses and the sweaters for today. We are going to see mostly sunny skies and fall-like highs persist. Expect readings this afternoon in the lower 70s. As we progress into tonight under mostly clear skies, we'll see those temperatures fall into the upper 40s and lower 50s. We are going to see clouds build in. Tomorrow, partly cloudy conditions will persist with warm highs in the mid to upper 70s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in Weather Center.
And now, the Sand Hills #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at Talk97.3.com. The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
Oh my God, you know what today is? Okay, we need to look at the calendar. It's September 22nd.
Fall is my absolute favorite season.
Well, you're lucky. Oh, relax.
Today just happens to be Thursday.
The fall season. The temperature just keeps getting cooler and cooler. And it's weather. Ready to start? Let's start the show.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sand Hills. It is time once again for Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams along with the Colonel, retired Marine Colonel Drummond. Good morning, Colonel.
Hey, good morning, Morris County. Good morning, unfortunate Aberdeen. As the family pilot refers to you. Hey, pilot, maybe you ought to get your crayon out and sharpen it up a little bit. You might hear something you want to write a story about this morning.
Don't forget, of course, we are being heard and seen around the world on a live video stream. That's up and running at talk973.com or talk1041.com. Top middle of the page is where the link's located on your internet feed. If you're on your mobile device, just go fire up YouTube and put Mornings with the LeaderMan in the search. And if you're just looking for audio stream on your mobile device, you just fire up a streaming app, such as TuneIn, iTunes, Stream, many others work. Just put WEEB in the search, and if that can work, you just come to our website at talk973.com or talk1041.com. Upper right-hand corner of every page has an icon that says "On Air, Listen Live." Click that once you're listening that quick. Weather for us today here in the Sand Hills area is going to be another nice one. Look for sunny skies, 72 today, clear tonight, 49. Wednesday, mostly sunny and 78. Thursday, 76 under partly cloudy skies. And Friday and Saturday, we'll be dealing with the remnants of Beta, Hurricane Beta, which will be just a mere shell of itself by the time it gets here. Right now around the Sand Hills, wind to calm, visibility 10 statute miles, pressure 30-32, 2.45, humidity 96%. It is sunny, 46 degrees currently here at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1
more. David's got a lot to say, so I'll make mine pretty quick. I've talked about the survey. This is another survey show. It's a survey that is given to kids in Moore County schools, and we do not believe that the parents know about this. The reason we're doing this again is because we've had so many people that have called or texted or emailed and asked about it. So I'm going to go over some of the questions. Now, these questions are administered by a company. The company gets these results. The company does whatever they do with them. I have no idea. The name of the company is the name of the company is Panorama Education Administrators. Panorama Education, and they get the survey, and whatever they do with it, well, someone will have to tell me. We're about to have a Supreme Court justice fight. Remember when Kavanaugh was running and he got in trouble because he drank a beer in the 8th grade or whatever it was? Just picture your kids, these questions following them all their lives. And also, I want you to picture who in the world does a school board think they are asking your children these questions. Let's go with the ones about sex. First. The first one is, have you ever had sexual intercourse? Now, these are kids as young as 10 years old. Have you ever had sexual intercourse? How would you like it if I went before the school board and took, excuse me, I'd like to spend my couple of minutes up here asking questions. Dr. Grimsey, this first one's for you. Have you ever had sexual intercourse? Very inappropriate, isn't it? When it comes to asking it to our children, though, you don't seem to think so. There's another one. How old were you when you had sexual intercourse for the first time? Let me throw that one to Dr. Betty Brown. Dr. Brown, how old were you when you had sexual intercourse for the first time? I don't know. Here's one for Ed Dennison. Mr. Dennison, during your life, with how many people have you had sexual intercourse? These are questions being asked of your children. Of your children, and do you know it? And those of you who do know it, are you okay with it? Or are you sitting out there thinking, well, this is perfectly fine, I see nothing wrong with this? Let me throw out one for Helena Wallen Miller. During the last 3 months, with how many people did you have sexual intercourse? That is about the most inappropriate thing I've ever done.
Gender.
What?
And their gender.
Well, that's a question that's coming. But I can't imagine how I could ever, a situation when I would ever be so inappropriate on this radio as to throw that question out there to that lady. But I don't know how she could ever throw that question out to a child, to you, especially your child. Here's one for, let me throw this one out to Bob Grimsey again. Did you drink alcohol or use drugs before you had sexual intercourse the last time? Here's another one. Last time you had sexual intercourse, little child in this school that we're trusting our teachers to take care of you, precious child that the parents went to school this morning thinking you were learning things that would help you for the rest of your life, not harm you. Let me ask you this, precious little child. Last time you had sexual intercourse, did you use a condom? Just curious. We want to put this together. Here's one for, let's throw this one to Pam Thompson. Pam, last time you had sexual intercourse, what one method did you or your partner use to prevent pregnancy? Extremely inappropriate question for me to ask that good lady. Why would I do that? Well, I wouldn't. Not really, but I want to put to show you the gravity of these types of questions. The last time you had sexual intercourse, how many years younger or older were they? Ed Dennison, during your life, with how many people have you had sexual intercourse? Which of the following best explains you? Let's throw this out to Helena Wallen Miller. Are you heterosexual, gay or lesbian, or bisexual?
I think we know the answer to that one.
Well, I don't. I mean, I don't want to insinuate anything. I just want to point out the extreme ridiculousness of these children being asked these questions. Now, we have a big problem in our world and in our nation with children thinking about ending their lives. And one of the most tragic things that ever could possibly happen to a family. Here's a question. Let me throw this out to Ms. Caldwell. During the last 12 months, did you ever consider, seriously it says, consider attempting suicide? What kind of questions is that to ask a child? Maybe we should we should discuss suicide, but that's a parent and a child, not a random survey with some teacher, with a teacher who's probably a very wonderful, qualified teacher, not teaching, but administering this ridiculous list of questions. Just in case you hadn't thought about it, child sitting there, precious child who I sent to school, my child. Let me ask you this. During the 12 months, did you make a plan about how you would attempt suicide? And I would like to add a comma. And if not, why not? Because these are children, and you're planning these things in their mind. Here's another one. During the last 12 months, how many times did you actually attempt suicide? And again, I'll add a child's mind. What? None was I supposed to? I don't get this. If another question, if you attempted suicide during the last 12 months, did any attempt result in an injury, poison, or overdose that you had to be treated by a doctor? What kinds of questions are these to be administered to our kids? And here's another one, and this goes back to, as ridiculous as this would have sounded a year ago, imagine filling this out and coming back to you when your child was applying for a job or a position of high importance. Because we all know, every single one of us knows, these questions will be on there forever, and we know they can identify your child. I don't care what they say. During the last 30 days, about how many times did you use marijuana? I'd like to just walk up to the board, use my time, and ask, how many of you have used marijuana in the last 30 days? Here's another one. During your lifetime, how many times have you taken prescription pain medicine without a doctor's prescription, or differently than how a doctor told you to use it? Drugs such as codeine, and then list some others, Oxycontin and hydrocodone, Percocet. About how many times? Now, for old people like me, that'd be a tough one to answer. But you don't ask children those things, especially if they're not your own children. All right, this is the second time, or actually the third time in the last couple of 3 years I've gone over this. And I hope that you'll talk about it and tell everybody about it. And some of you will be going, well, I don't really see what's wrong with asking a child how many times they've had sex. And I don't either if you're the parent. That's your job. I don't expect to send a child to school to be educated according to the North Carolina Constitution and according to the reasons and the logic that we used when we voted on these school board. No one told us they were going to be doing this. All right, I'm going to be quiet now. David Hensley has a very well put together subject that he's going to talk about.
There's a couple of follow-up things on what you said about the surveys, John. The first point that I would make is, although this is coming to light and gone viral this year, they've administered these surveys in past years. They administered these surveys as John read them and more in the 2018-2019 academic year. They fully intended to, and they did it without the parents' knowledge, which is actually against federal law, but, why would that impede this Board of Education? They planned on doing the surveys in the 2019-2020 academic year. In fact, they administered the social emotional learning survey in the fall, and they planned on doing the youth risk behavioral survey in the spring in April. But then COVID hit, and they knew that parents would see the surveys on the Chromebook, so they checked it out. Then, now that they're doing this hybrid learning thing, all of a sudden the Board of Education, which had zero problem administering those inappropriate, illegal, and intrusive surveys in previous years without the parents' permission, all of a sudden this year they're asking permission. And you got to ask yourself, why this year? Well, it's because they know that students are home and that parents will see the surveys. So, again, they're against federal law, and if they administer them as an opt-out survey, then they're going to have a federal lawsuit on their hand, because federal law says those surveys, the Youth Behavioral Risk Survey, has to be an opt-in survey where parents have to positively opt in. So, the ball's in their court. If they want a federal lawsuit, that's how you get a federal lawsuit.
How about the past surveys? They should be sued for those.
They should, but again, and
the results of all that should be destroyed.
Correct. You're absolutely correct.
And the problem with suing is answer. A lawsuit is fine. We'd have to sue. We'd have to launch 20 lawsuits to cover everything. The real answer is to vote them out. Vote in Hensley, Levy, Holmes, and Holmes.
Yes.
and this is not political for us. This is absolutely a step that must be taken to fix our schools. They're in horrid condition. On the subjects we're going to talk about, David, we cannot do this without saying this. God bless our teachers. They are wonderful. If they could all be allowed to teach, we would all have A schools.
Yeah, they deserve better leadership, and they are not getting what they are getting. They deserve better leadership than this Board of Education and Central Office delivers. That is for dang sure. Another point to be made is if there was honest reporting by the pilot.
That would have gone a long way to stop.
Yeah, this Board of Education would be run out of town with torches and pitchforks if the pilot would do accurate reporting as to the train wreck the Board of Education is.
I just heard a crayon snap somewhere.
Makes you wonder who's in bed with the pilot, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I want to talk about the McDeeds Creek McDeeds Creek principle, the story broken here on WEEB, and probably once again, Moore County Schools is going to make national news. I know at least one state level paper is going to pick this up, and it seems like every time Moore County makes the national news for education, it's something bad. Lose all the ACT scores, made the national news, and there was something else that this school board made the national news on that. Well, here's another one, right? So, as broken on the WEEB last week, the McDeeds Creek principal is serving her 12-month prison sentence as principal of McDeeds Creek Elementary, and the Board of Education is cool with that. In fact, JD, you were there last week. Libby Carter stepped up in a group of people and said on this issue, it's no big deal. Most of the charges were dropped, so it's no big deal. When she said that, I decided to look into it.
In the context of the way she said it, what she said was actually not true, because she said, we hired her back, yes, not to steal your thunder, but the charges had been dropped. Well, that's not true. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's go through the timeline.
By the way, we're going after the school board on this, not this lady.
So you're saying she's a liar?
Yeah. Yes. Libby the leftist Carter. Imagine that lying. By the way, you should go to her Facebook page and see all the leftists. She comes across as this conservative. I live in CCNC and this and that. You should go to her Facebook page and see all the extreme leftist stuff that's on there. So anyway,
did you say who she was? What her position was?
She is the chairwoman of the Moore County Board of Education and former Pinecrest debate coach, because she points that out. It's like Lisa, I used to point out that I have a master's degree in computer science, and I stopped doing that. But anyway, by the way, did you guys know I had a master's degree in computer science?
No, but I know you're going to run out of time.
Okay. Okay. So here's the timeline, and I'm going to mention her name because the pilot ran her name. So on 28 April 2020, Molly Capps, the principal of McDeeds Creek Elementary School, was arrested by Pinehurst police and charged with driving while intoxicated, 2 counts of child abuse, and 2 other charges. So that was 28 April. On 11 May, with full knowledge of the pending charges, the Moore County Board of Education renewed the principal's contract for another year.
So, well, wait a minute. If the charges were dropped when they rehired her, then all
they weren't dropped. She was pending charges of DUI and 2 charges of child abuse when the Moore County Board of Education voted unanimously. There wasn't a single dissenter.
So Libby Carter misspoke then when she was talking the other night and said,
I think that was a factual admission, right? So on 11 May, 2.5 weeks after the principal was charged with DWI and 2 counts of child abuse, with full knowledge of those pending charges, the Moore County Board of Education, all of them, voted 7-0 to renew her contract. On 8 July, that's what, 3 months ago? August, September, October, we'll call it months. The principal was convicted and sentenced to 12 months in prison. 12 months in prison by the judge here in Moore County, and given 30 days credit for time spent in confinement. Right? And
now, where are you getting this information, Dave?
This is, and I'm going to post a link to this on my Facebook page. I am getting all this information from publicly available court documents.
So this isn't something someone told you. Are you reading that right off the official arrest form, or what?
Oh yeah, well I have the full package. You can go down to the courthouse and get it. I've got the arrest documents, I've got the charges, I've got the article in the pilot, and I've got the sentencing form signed by the judge. And I've got the driver's license surrender form. So, and also, after she was convicted, she surrendered her driver's license to the whoever the clerk of the court. And as of today, 22 September, Miss Capps is still serving as principal of McDee Creek Elementary School in Moore County. So apparently, the Board of Education is okay with forcing parents to entrust their children to a lady who is serving a 12-month prison sentence as principal. I am not okay with that.
No, and no one else should be either.
No one else should be.
Absolutely not.
You know, though, Jeff, here's the thing, man. There are people on Facebook right now, I guarantee you, they're attacking me for bringing this to light.
Right.
There are, I don't understand people who defend this Board of Education. And I'll tell you why they do it. They're hard leftists, and they're more implementing their leftist agenda in Moore County schools is more important than all of this crap. Our schools have, Moore County schools have 5 B-rated schools, 10 C-rated schools, 0 A-rated schools, and these leftist flying monkeys defend that.
Well, in fairness, what did Libby say to you, Libby Carter, the chairman of the board, when you brought that up the other day?
Oh, yeah, she called me a liar because I failed to mention that they had a few B-rated schools.
You know, I wish I would have thought of that excuse when I was in school. I told you many times I was not a good student. And if I came home with D's or F's or C's, my parents would be very upset. I could not say to them, but yeah, that's not fair. You're not looking at that one B I made 2 months ago. No, that's not the way it works.
So did you say Libby Carter, she was the gymnastics coach at Pinehurst? I mean, she's really got some gymnastics going on here.
Well, here's the funny thing. She stood up there in front of everyone, and I'm the debate coach at Pinecrest High School. And then when she called us liars, I'm like, okay, Libby, what exactly did we say that was untrue? Well, I don't want to debate you. Well, wait a minute.
You're the debate coach.
And you called us liars. Now you're not going to say where we lied.
And this station is always completely fair. I don't know how many times we've asked Libby Carter. I just emailed the other day. Come on to the show live and debate us with facts. Let's talk facts. You're more than welcome to come on here anytime live.
Well, and Libby, the leftist clown Carter, is the chair of the Board of Education. She called us liars, right? And I go, hey, okay, I'll play along. Where did we lie? Well, I don't want to debate you. And then she mumbled some crap that was 100% wrong. And then she lied in her response when we didn't say a single untruth.
So she's actually teaching her kids to be liars, not debate.
Okay. So let's move on to this article in the pilot that was...
What you do, I think there's one point that you went over that, people might be saying, well, you're being too hard on this principle and so forth. When somebody's entrusted with that position, they are held to a higher standard than the rest of us.
It's a position of special trust and confidence, and our children desperately need exceptional role models, and the faculty and staff deserve leaders as principals that they can respect and look up to. And I don't think the Board of Education understands the importance of role models and leadership and respect.
Yeah, and this isn't about forgiveness. This is about
setting standards and maintaining them for our children. Yeah, absolutely. So let's move to this 14 April article, 14 May, I think, article in the pilot. It was run on 14 May, and I'm going to quote this. Moore County schools confirm that Capps is currently on leave. Remember when the sentencing form, she was given 30 days credit for confinement?
Right.
Wonder what she was doing on leave.
Yeah.
Then the following sentence says, this week the school board extended her contract by a year to June 30th, 2021. So there it is in the pilot. They saw peddled the story. Oh, she's on leave. Oh, this is all misdemeanor stuff. And by the way, we extended her contract.
Well, let me jump in here and say what we all have said before. In spite of what folks may think, I have a great deal of compassion in my heart, and I do for this lady. This is almost it's gut wrenching to talk about this lady because she is not the target of any attack. The school board, she is rather someone who made a mistake, as David has said many times, one that could have been made by any of us.
Correct.
But you still have got to suffer the consequences of what you do. And no matter how much you like someone, school board, you still make them pay the consequences. So, man, this is not about you. As painful as this may be, it's about the school board's lack of leadership. And wish you the best, but and there's one more question. That is this. How many people have been let go from Moore County schools for DWI? I would really like to know. If you know that, contact me. I've had people contact me and say, hey, we've had many people fired from DWI, and one woman said they told us when we went to work here that you get a DWI, you're fired. No questions about it.
So now you got to ask yourself, why is this principal still around? And I was asking myself the same thing, and someone sent me a note and said, do you realize who her parents are? And I did not, so I looked into who her parents are. And everyone knows there's all kinds of political patronage and crap like that in this county. It's sickening, and it shouldn't exist. People should be hired and promoted on merit, not based upon parental lineage. But let's discuss this principal's parents. Her parents appear to be Edward and Jackie Warner of Fayetteville. Edward Warner is a former 9-term Democrat North Carolina state representative, and her mother is the current mayor of Hope Mills and a former principal in Cumberland County Schools. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, very. Yeah, it is.
Well, it probably would have been the same outcome if her dad would have been some alcoholic Republican that lived in a shack somewhere on the other side of town getting welfare, had no political pull. I doubt that would have mattered.
Well, as you pointed out, JD, how many people in the Moore County school system have lost their jobs because they've gotten DUIs, and she's kept hers? Well, look at this, man. And, is it professional courtesy? Did Libby Carter, former principal, talk to her mother, who's another former principal, a little professional courtesy there? Or, did her father, who was a 9-term state Democrat House representative, make phone calls, pull some strings? Hey, keep my daughter on. That whole thing is fishy. And when I'm on the Board of Education, we're going to have one standard for everybody, and that standard is going to be enforced.
And David, as a friend, I'll tell you this. You know as well as I do that when you violate that, we'll have you on here. We'll be bad mouthing you.
Oh, yeah. I would expect nonetheless. I'll tune in the WEEB, man. You guys will be cutting me up.
And I need to say one thing is it's almost a correction. When Libby Carter said that most of the charges had been dismissed and they hadn't, at that time, yes, she ended up with 1 year. But under the law, she was actually facing 2 years when her contract was renewed. So it may be a small point, but it's a fact. So she was facing 2 years.
A responsible look. Legal issues are legal issues. Personnel issues are personnel issues. In the Marine Corps, I had to send Marines to correctional custody, confinement. In private life, I've had to fire people, and it's always tough, right? Personnel issues are tough. But the fact of the matter is, you have to deal with personnel issues because that's what you do as a leader.
Oh, no argument here.
Another point, and this is a minor point, where she's just surrendered her driver's license. One of the requirements to be a principal is you have to be able to operate a motor vehicle. It's in the job description, as we pointed out the other day, and as I pointed out in the documents I'm going to post here later on today. She is ineligible to be principal. So if the Board of Education wanted to fire her right there. Breach of contract. You lost your driver's license. You're ineligible.
Well, David, the last school board fired Dr. Bob, our superintendent, and they were forced out, and we, to this day, don't know why they fired him. But ever since they did fire him, things have gone downhill. I mean, and because he got rehired, I'm kind of getting tongue-tied here. He got rehired, and things have gone downhill. And we really have so many things that they will not answer. They will not respond to in any way, except with a typed-up thing that the pilot just runs automatically.
Right. Like I said, if there was if the pilot ran honest articles, just all the scandals with this board of education, maybe we'll have it down.
Thanks for listening, folks.
All right, so it goes for this Tuesday. Happy Celebrate State Day. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow for Hump Day Wednesday, 7 to 9. Until then, be sure to support all the mom and pop businesses you hear on our airwaves, because they are the backbone of our economy here in Moore County. When you give them first back of your spending dollars, your money will stay here, roll over, and create jobs for all of us. And don't forget also that millions of Americans have fought and they have died to give and protect the freedoms that you get to enjoy today. Live today worthy of their and their families' sacrifice. I'm Steve Leader Adams, the LeaderMan, and it can close it all. We'll see you at 2 o'clock this afternoon.